26 years old, earning $300 a month, and living in a small room in the countryside with my wife and kid. With prices skyrocketing everywhere, how does a young family in a rural area actually survive and budget their daily life? With a monthly income of around 7.5 million Vietnamese dong, which breaks down to less than 250,000 Vietnamese dong a day, can my little family truly live comfortably? Hey everyone, I'm Hien. Today let me show you what real life is like for my family in our village on this budget. It's 6 a.m. A new day begins. I wake up as I do every morning. This is the small room where my family lives, my wife, my child, and me. The room is only 12 square meters, but it's the place we call home. Many people might think $300 is a tiny amount for a family of 3, barely enough to rent a small studio apartment in a big city. But out here in the peaceful countryside, my wife and I don't have to carry the heavy burden of rent or expensive service fees. With only a small amount of money to rely on and a tiny house to call home, we have to carefully plan every daily expense to ease the burden of life and make ends meet. However, a young family living in the countryside still faces its own challenges. Even without rent, expenses like diapers and milk for the baby, utility bills, and social obligations like weddings or funerals in the village are rising sharply. If the two of us don't know how to budget and save together, that 250,000 Vietnamese dong a day can disappear in the blink of an eye. I went to the market early this morning, so it was still a bit quiet and not many vendors had set up their stalls yet. Follow me to the local morning market to see just how much purchasing power 250,000 Vietnamese dong has when feeding a small family. Here, small stalls line the entrance of the market filled with baskets of fresh vegetables just picked from the garden, and trays of river fish and homegrown pork raised by the locals, all at very reasonable prices. First, I'll go buy breakfast for the whole family. As soon as I walked in, I saw the pastries neatly arranged on the table and they looked absolutely delicious. Everything was already prepared, making this morning's breakfast feel even warmer and more enjoyable. I bought 6 of them for just 10,000 Vietnamese dong. That's only about 40 cents, so they're really cheap. At this market, most of the vendors are older men and women. Many of them have been doing this for years and still prefer cash payments. It gives the market a simple, authentic charm and reflects the unique character of the local community. Next, I'm going to buy a banh mi, a dish that is well known and loved by many people around the world. It's also one of Vietnam's most iconic traditional foods, with a unique flavor that has won over food lovers from all across the globe. What I love most is how affordable things still are in the countryside. A banh mi like this costs only 10,000 Vietnamese dong, which is about 40 US cents. For that price, it's a delicious, convenient, and incredibly budget-friendly meal. It's fascinating to watch them at work. Every step is carried out with great skill and professionalism, from preparing the ingredients to finishing the sandwich. Everything happens quickly, yet the final result is always neat, well crafted, and incredibly appetizing. It's fascinating to watch them at work. Every step is carried out with great skill and professionalism, from preparing the ingredients to finishing the sandwich. Everything happens quickly, yet the final result is always neat, well crafted, and incredibly appetizing.
Yeah. Rồi cái súp lơ đấy.
I decided to pick up a cauliflower for today's lunch. It costs only 15,000 Vietnamese dong, which is about 50 US cents. Considering its freshness and quality, it's a really good value. Next, I'll stop by the pork stall to pick up some fresh meat for today's lunch. The meat sold at the morning market is usually very fresh and of excellent quality, which is why I always prefer shopping at this time of day. I bought about 70,000 Vietnamese dong worth of pork for today's lunch, which is roughly 2.6 US dollars. The price is very reasonable considering how fresh the food is. When I add up all the ingredients for today's family lunch, the total cost comes to just a little over 3 US dollars, which I think is quite affordable. There are quite a lot of people shopping at this stall. That suggests it's a popular and well-known spot among the locals.
Sinh nhật con hiểu thì tụi về ăn trong rồi mấy tiền mơ bây giờ mơ hả.
Now it's time for me to head home. Before leaving the market, I'd like to show you a few wide shots so you can get a better sense of the lively atmosphere and everyday life here. On my way home, I noticed that my motorbike was running low on fuel, so I stopped by a gas station to fill up. Gasoline here currently costs about 25,000 Vietnamese dong per liter, which is roughly 1 US dollar. I'm curious to know how much fuel costs where you live, so feel free to share it in the comments. As you can see, everyone lines up and waits their turn to refuel. Those who arrive first are served first, so everything is quite orderly and well organized. The countryside in the morning always feels peaceful and relaxing. The quiet roads, fresh air, and slow pace of life create a unique kind of beauty. If you ever have the chance, would you like to visit Vietnam and experience this simple yet charming way of life for yourself? Everyone is busy with their own work, creating a simple yet vibrant rhythm of life in the countryside.
Thưa em.
Now let's take a look at everything I picked up during my morning trip to the market. I bought all the meat and vegetables needed for today's lunch, along with some fried cakes and banh mi for the family's breakfast. It was a simple trip to the market, but I managed to get everything we needed for our meals today. It's now 7 a.m. My wife and I have finished breakfast and are ready to start a new day. After this, I'll head out to do some extra work to earn a little additional income and help cover our daily living expenses. Now I'd like to invite you to join my wife and me for breakfast. Thank you all for taking the time to watch my video. If you enjoy content about everyday life in Vietnam, don't forget to subscribe and support my channel. Your support is my motivation to continue sharing more about life, culture, and authentic experiences in my hometown. See you in the next video.